All right, let's get it going. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Yes, I Have an Opinion. Today we got the absolute heavyweight in the studio, literally and figuratively, standing at 6'4". The man is a powerhouse, martial artist, black belt, commanding presence on the screen. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good so far. You've seen him throw it down on Dexter. You've seen him on Law and Order, and he brings the heat in Marvel Universe as well as the dangerous and iconic Barracuda and Punisher One Last Kill. He's currently in Paramount's Tyler Perry's Ruthless, and he has an upcoming movie with Jennifer Gardner and John Cena, which we will discuss later on. He's an actor, he's an entrepreneur, he's a former wellness executive, an all-around force of nature, and probably one of the easiest people to talk to on this planet. Jamal Johnson, thank you for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate that. How are you doing today, my friend?
Where do I send the money, man? I mean, that was a fantastic intro. That was a fantastic introduction. Well, nice to see you guys. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Honestly, it was like I emailed you and I was expecting like maybe a few days, like here and there, but like it was right away. Yeah, no problem, no problem. One of the easiest things that's ever happened. And I thought it was like, when things are just too easy, you're just like something's bad's gonna happen or some issue's gonna happen, right? And I just felt like, wow, that was it. Okay, we're good here. We're cool.
Is that so Nick? Is that experience when you used to meet girls in clubs? Was that what your experience?
Well, for you, when talking to you, SANJ, you're the most difficult person I've ever talked to in my life. Let's start with that. You tried to play hard to get, even though we live like a few blocks away from each other, but it's a different story here.
Jamal, I value myself. Okay,
Jamal. First thing first, I need to talk about this. Okay. You're in the MCU. You're in the what's Tyler Perry's universe? Is it a Tyler Perry universe or is it an ecosystem?
I would say probably if we're looking at the difference between the two, I would say Tyler Perry is more of an ecosystem, right?
Okay.
Because when you think of the MCU, you think of, even though there are some television projects, you think of major feature films, right?
Right.
$200+ million productions. When Tyler Perry comes into play, he has an ecosystem, right? He does a lot of his things are independently produced, right, and funded from him. He does distribution deals with studios, and his is an ecosystem of theatrical works that he started with, then transitioning into feature films, and then transitioning to television. So it's different. There's a lot of moving parts as well because he controls everything also. I mean, he's unbelievable in what he's done and been able to do for such a long time as well, and give opportunities to other people, man. So it's just amazing.
What was the main difference between the two? Sorry, Sanj, one more question. What's the universe like between the two? What is it? Is it night and day, or is it
night and day?
What's it like?
Night and day. When you're walking onto a Marvel screen, a Marvel production, it's massive. So many extras, so many moving parts, so many people involved. It was larger than life. Lots of privacy going on. I had no idea who I was auditioning for, any of those things, right? Very, very private in that regard, where Tyler Perry is more straight-laced, it's more of an internal production, a little bit more intimate there as well. And it's much quicker pace with Tyler Perry. I mean, we are shooting multiple different scenes from different episodes in the day. I mean, one take, keep it moving. So you have to be really prepared jumping on into a Tyler Perry project. Not to say you don't have to be for an MCU project, but with the MCU, there's a little bit more, obviously the fight sequences, all those different things involved. And it's just a little bit more time there. Tyler Perry is so fast.
Yeah, it's probably like a well-oiled machine, basically. Well, Marvel's Absolutely. Like that. But would you say like Tyler Perry's more like the family environment, and then like the Marvel universe being a part of that, it's like the corporate environment? Like, that kind of
I
vibe? Or
wouldn't I wouldn't say that per se. It's just the pacing is different. The pacing is so different. Tyler Perry moves so fast. It's like, ready, shoot, next. Like it's so fast. That's probably the major difference between the two. And the feel is different because the budget is so different, with the MCU than it is with a Tyler Perry project. So it just feels different. But not to say that you still don't get that same amount of attention. Tyler Perry does a really good job of paying attention to his actors and making sure they need everything. And there's a certain care that Tyler Perry, being on a Tyler Perry project, it has for sure. Not to say MCU doesn't, but yeah, and the food is so amazing.
so one quick
You
question
you
was
mentioned
yeah, go on.
you mentioned at one point that you didn't know who you were auditioning for.
Mhm.
How do they do that? How do casting directors or recruiters, whatever you want to call them, how do they know that okay, this guy is the fit for this character? Like, are you reading a random script or or were you reading for example, Barracuda, were you reading for him but not
Random
knowing that you were
lines.
reading
Listen, you got to think about it, right? If you got a
Just being,
chance to
being
look at
6'4" and jacked probably helps a lot as well, right? Like,
if you
how
look
many
at the
6'4" jacked guys
Barracuda, right?
walking
If you
around?
look at the character in itself, then which I didn't know I was auditioning for, you see the similarities with me and the character. The
Yeah.
production side knows that. They know the direction. We had no idea. It was so anonymous. I will tell you that. Um, I had multiple dialogue in there. There was nothing there when I actually did the actual moments, which still fit. It still fit for the actual scene, the scenes that I were in. But it's always so unique on how they're able to do that brilliantly. For us, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of privacy that comes into place with doing something so of such magnitude, right? And so you don't know. And I think what they do that because they want to make sure that every actor is bringing their authentic selves to the role, as opposed to just saying, "Hey, I'm auditioning for a Marvel project. I got to make sure I'm doing this." But if you're authentic to being that character, whatever it is, whether it's a small scene or a large scene, then they know this person is good for the role, as opposed to just saying, "I'm only being this try to be this good because it's for a Marvel role." And so for me as an actor, it doesn't matter whether it's a small scene or a recurring character. I'm bringing that same energy, passion, devotion to that character. I'm always servicing the character, whether small or large. Good question, man.
Well, I had a quick question. So, publicity wise, right? Like, you're doing Tyler Perry and stuff, but like, as soon as you're mentioned that you're gonna be in a Punisher in a Marvel franchise, did you feel like, oh wow, there's more of a spotlight? Like oh wow, like, because it's like it for some reason, like, in the ether and in the internet, anything like comic book related, it just gets that electricity jabbed into it, right?
I have probably received more attention from that minimal introduction to such the large universe than I ever have in my, I would say, 20-year career of, but I had some space where I took like a 10-year hiatus, but that small role has really helped to skyrocket me into just the world of being an actor, and that consistency. I could definitely say that because without saying too much, I've done some stuff and I have some stuff coming up as well, but it was 100% the introduction into that universe definitely changed some things for me, for sure, man. I mean,
Well,
Jamal,
it's like,
between
that old saying that actors use, there's no small parts, right?
there is no small parts, which leads me back to saying you have to make sure you're delivering your authentic self, whether the role is small or large, because you never know what could really give you the opportunity to become a consistent working actor.
between movies and TV, what is really the main difference?
So television typically has a little bit of a faster pace than feature films.
This is an actor's point of view, right? Like for TV. Okay, so
yeah, television typically has a faster pace than movies in general. When you're shooting feature films, there's different types of there's more angle shooting, there's more point of views, there's just different. It becomes a little bit more intimate, I guess, so to speak, where television is, hey, we got to get this, we got to get this, we got to get this, and keep it moving. That's probably the biggest thing I've noticed.
Which one do you prefer more, like the television experience or the movie experience?
Whatever gets the job, man.
It's I think from an actor's point of view, it really depends on the type of television project it is. Right. So when you look at a project like, let's see, Tyler Perry's Ruthless, where I'm a recurring character on, that's a little bit, pacey, a little bit, kind of moving. But then when you have maybe a project like This Is Us, with so much emotion, so much drama involved in a project, then the pacing is probably a little bit slower. So it just really depends on the type of project that it is. But for feature films in general, they like to have more shots, more camera angles, all those things to make sure they're getting all the fine tuning in their concern in post production.
And so
I'm going to ask this before SANJ gets his knickers in a bunch here. Okay, martial arts here. I know the way SANJ is looking at you right now. He's probably like, what's the workout routine? What's the proper diet? So I'm going to ask that before he says it. What's the day in the life of a
I was going to ask a different question about the size, because that's a good question as well. Let's go for that one.
He's obsessed with your size, man. I'm just going to say it right now.
So let me ask you. You asked me what was my workout routine, what was my diet like. So I'm pretty boring.
Are you just genetically gifted? Like, you just born like that?
There is some genetic, I guess, gifts, so to speak, that I have. I just kind of based upon everybody that does I guess most recently does the kind of 23andMe, and I learned some things that I didn't know about me that I was, that I wish I could ask some questions to some family members and all that stuff that aren't here. But, discovered, obviously with the African background, the Pacific Islander background as well in me that I didn't know about, don't know about the culture, but there is that, which I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense why I've always been a pretty big guy, But as far as my diet is concerned, I'm pretty boring, man. I'm not somebody that eats a whole bunch of protein like you think I do at all. I'm really a fruit guy. Love me some fruit, bananas, berries, yogurts. I probably have, I don't know, chicken or beef maybe once or twice a day. I'm not a heavy meat eater like that, because I will put on, I'm about 6'4", 240, 245. And so it's easy for me to get up to 260 if I'm eating like that. So I eat for energy. And what I notice is the lighter that I eat throughout the day, the more energy that I have throughout the day. And I'm not I don't smoke. I drink on occasion. I'm not really that person, because I like to be aware and present, man. So, and I think that might also come into play, as I have a lot of people in my network too, that play professional sports, and also were serving the military. So it's just all these different things kind of coincide with the discipline that I've had throughout my life.
Did you ever get picked on as a kid?
No.
See, this is where I'm going with, because obviously, like, I was talking to you about your previous interview when you used to wear like tights.
Yeah.
And
yeah, so you're talking about
if I did tights in Shakespeare, I'm getting picked on like 100%. I'm 5'8", right?
For sure. Yeah,
But
so
we
But Sanj, you wouldn't get the
interviewed,
lead role if you were doing any plays. You'd be
yeah,
like,
so the story that you're talking about is, yes, I went to a progressive independent school early on, and there's a story around that, and I could just be honest with you guys. I was put in this school to make sure that I wasn't going to be falling victim to a lot of bad things that were happening around me. I grew up at a time where drugs, distribution of drugs was heavy, and there was a couple bad choices that I made early on too for as well, that my mother and my father, who was still alive at the time, decided that private school was the best for me, and I went to progressive independent school, and that's where I first got introduced into acting. And I always had this, I was always a bigger kid, and I think I've always had this presence. And so that's where I was introduced to Shakespeare. And I had an opportunity to read Shakespeare, do Shakespeare. I went to that school for like 3 or 4 years, 9 years old. So I was doing all those things young, but like going around and wearing tights and all those things, it wasn't going to be the way to get the women, man. And so
what city was this? What city
this
were you?
was in Pasadena,
Pasadena, okay.
California. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was in Pasadena, California. It
What
was
was Pasadena like back in the
grimy, if you
early
know.
90s and whatnot?
Yeah, grimy. In the early in the 80s and 90s, it was,
Because for us, like we've only heard it through like us being in Canada, Sanj and I. Like we
yeah.
only heard it
Are
through
you guys
music.
Vancouver or Vancouver?
Vancouver.
Well, okay.
Vancouver.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm both. I'm both Vancouver and
Okay.
Toronto. But
Okay.
I mean, Pasadena is kind of like Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Ohio.
It's like, okay, I
Yeah,
kind of know where it
so
is, but kind of I don't know where it is.
for sure. So Pasadena, now it's been so gentrified, right? So it's like Brooklyn, New York. Like if you guys been to Brooklyn, New York, it's not the same Brooklyn, New York Jay-Z grew up in. Well, I think Fabulous is from there too. It's like it's different, Brooklyn, Williamsburg, even Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn is different than what it was back in the 80s, and in that early 90s. It's different. Pasadena is the same way. When I grew up, it was different. If you guys Google the Pasadena massacre and Halloween, kids got shot and killed during that time. It was some troubled times, but and I remember leaving there, going to school, and I said, I'm never coming back. I was like, I'm never coming back. I mean, there was helicopters flying around and all that. There's pockets of Pasadena that were, okay, but I mean, it was curfew central. It was a lot of different things, but it's completely different now. If you came to Pasadena now, it looks amazing. I mean, it looks amazing. It's like a whole different city.
So the whole point I'm going to bring it back to is
Yeah.
I did an interview with Raj Desi, Jinder Mahal, who was a WWE champion.
Okay.
And he's 6'4".
Okay.
And jacked, right?
Yeah.
And I found that like he was telling me like, and I said like I'm the kind of guy like, at 5'8", you're the guy that gets picked on because like you're tall enough where like the guy can pick on you, but you're not short enough where it's like embarrassing the guy picks on you.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, you gotta let it go. You gotta let all this stuff go. And I'm like, dude, you're 6'4". I mean, like, do you ever get picked on? Like, I find out that as soon as you get past 6'3", everyone's just super chilled.
Yeah,
like, just super laid back and chilled because like they're not experiencing like life the way like a 5'8" guy does because it's like you never got picked on, you get all the girls. I'm like, listen, life's pretty good for you.
Yeah,
like,
well,
were you
my
bully at all, or were you always chilled and laid back?
always never been bullied on at all. But I played sports too. I played football. I played basketball too. So nope, never had that experience. My father, he passed away 26 years ago now, but he was 5'8" and a half on a good day. So, and he
You got
had
picked
a,
on?
you know, my dad he was, he was a fighter. Let's put it that way. You know, he was a low key guy, and a lot of most of my life he was sick. He passed away from multiple sclerosis. So I think at the age of 9, I became a caregiver with my mother, and taking care of him until he passed away. But I still remember some times before that when he still was mobile. And I hear some stories I have a brother, an older brother, and my brother will tell me some stories about how he was, he didn't play with pops or anything of that nature. So I'm assuming that might have came from some elements of people trying to test him. So
Well, yeah, like
Just
you wouldn't pick on a guy that's 5'8" or 5'8" and lower because it's like you're 6'4". Like, come
yeah,
on, dude. It's not that.
no, I wouldn't pick on anybody, but if somebody tried to test me, it's a different story.
I'd pick on you, Sanj. Let's.
You do it all the time.
Is there certain roles that you would just like love, or a certain I guess universe, if you want to say, or like franchise? Is there something that you're kind of gaining a goal to go to, like for actors? How does it work? Is there a certain, you don't, obviously you don't want to be in a certain typecasted role. You want to be very
Yeah.
your ability to be all over the place, but is there a certain type of franchise or a movie or a role that you kind of want to jump on that you're trying to gain?
Well, there's not a certain role per se, but I'm attracted to roles that it's almost like sometimes they're the anti-hero, or there's a story where they believe that their point of view is the right point of view, as opposed to the the dumb villain, right?
Yeah,
I
the
like,
mustache twirling villain, right?
yeah, I like the Barracuda, like his story, what he believes in, those foundations, he's those things. It's like that's why I've kind of explained he's the dark mirror of what the Punisher is, because the Punisher thinks in a lot of ways that everything he's doing is just, but he's still doing those things. Where I'm the reality of it. Hey, you're just like me. You just don't understand it yet.
Like a real
Those,
role. You're looking for something
yeah,
real, basically, not just
authenticity. Yes, it has
authenticity. Yeah.
depth to it. I love those. I love those characters.
I found the best villains are the most principled.
Yeah,
Like they just believe, like they have their principles. They
yeah,
don't budge from them. They're like, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it is. Whether you like it or not, you need to wake up. And I find
yeah.
those villains the most interesting because it makes you have to think and think of
Absolutely.
what it puts a mirror in front of your face, going, oh, well, look, like how do you react to society?
Yeah. Yep.
And so I totally agree with
Absolutely.
you on that.
Yeah.
Was there certain roles that you've been offered and you kind of like, I wish I took it, or I wish I auditioned for it?
Um,
I
no.
see John
Uh,
Stewart Green Lantern right here. Like for me, it's like
no, there hasn't been, because I like to do my own research on things, and making sure I am 100% about the craft, 100% about servicing the character, 100% about being present, when I'm on set. And so all those things have to be in alignment prior to me getting on set. So what does that mean? Okay, the things that I audition for or choose to do have to they have to touch me inside, man. They have to touch me inside. Oh, okay, that's gonna pull out something. Do I want to go there? I think I want to go there. I haven't went there before. I want to go there. I want to actually explore what that would be like. And so there hasn't been one where I said I wouldn't do it, because I think I'm good at saying, hey, I'm going to be hands off, convenient amnesia, right? When it comes to that wasn't fit for me, but this one will be fit for me for sure.
What about like martial arts? Anything would have to do with martial arts, like no movies like that, like that doesn't draw your interest. You know how
like Michael J. White, like
like
Michael J.
Michael J.
White's made a
White,
career.
like and like all those other types of movies that they do, like a little bit more indie, but not as much. Where a little bit more freedom, like that seems to
So
be a very popular genre when it
for
comes to
sure.
yeah.
I would say when I look at being able to maybe do a role that involves fighting choreography, it's more along the lines of DJ, The Rock,
Yeah.
where he has experience as a wrestler. And so there's movements and stuff that he does that's natural to him, right? But he's a brand in itself. It doesn't define him as the actor. And same with Vin Diesel. I don't know if Vin Diesel used to have some like boxer or something like that. So I think I'm like Michael J is like the top of martial arts, right? Of that category, right? So everything, I don't even know if he's had a stunt double. He's so good and so amazing, right? So that's been his staple piece of his brand, right? He is amazing in that regard. And he's second to none, right? I feel like he is the black version of Jet Li, in that regard of martial arts. For me, it's just a staple of, do I understand and did I train? And I was, trained under a Navy SEAL who was a 10th Dan. And like I trained that until he passed away years ago. But I understand that. But it's just a subcontext of who I am, right? I'm still the actor in the forefront with the subcontext. And so when it gets to the point where that's needed, and there was some scenes that we didn't use, I guess, in The Punisher where, I got a chance to whoop some ass a little bit more, but we didn't get it. They didn't use that, which is perfectly fine, but I was able to bring
You're
a
like,
little
oh,
bit
shucks.
of
Oh, that would have been so cool.
right.
You took it on a few people here.
Yeah, but it probably, and there was other sequences in there too that we shot that they didn't use for the final version, which is perfectly fine because there was some moments between John and I that you could tell there was a lot going on, and so, but I think it would have taken away from the deeper plot that was going on with Judith Light's character Manucci and how amazing she did. But there's a lot more room for there to go, just depending on if John wants and Ronaldo Marcus Green, the director, who's amazing, who wants to continue down that pathway, because I'll be ready for it. But yeah, it's more for me, to go back to your question. It's more of a subcontext. Like I have the ability to do that if it comes to play where they want me to do more fight choreography.
So I had a question that like I thought, so typecasting, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know old Hollywood hated like actors hated typecasting.
Yeah.
Well, I find that now typecasting can be a real benefit. Like if you watch a Jason Statham movie, you want Jason Statham to be Jason Statham. You want The Rock, because The Rock's having a little bit issue. I think he's having difficulty trying to convert into a very serious actor, and because he's typecast, but he's done really well with that. What the typecast is, right? Do you think actors of this Hollywood, like the era we're in now, are for like they want to be typecast? Because like it's like kind of like, oh yeah, they know what I want. I go in and I get a bunch of movies or roles that are like that fit this genre, and I'm good because it's a good paycheck and consistency. Or you feel like it's still that feeling? Well, no, I want to do a bunch of stuff. I don't want to get typecast.
I think it really depends, because I think most actors, they get to a point where they want to do more or something different that challenges them, and so being typecast can always be good in that element because it helps to keep your career going this way, because casting and production immediately they don't want to think. They want to say, this guy is this guy, right? There's a reason why most of the roles that I play right now, they have commanding presence and all these different things. But it's like, if you look at some of the two short films that I independently produced and starred in, they have depth and substance, emotional gravitas to it. And so that's where I got a chance to show a little bit more of my range, as an actor. But when you're looking at it from a public standpoint, this guy is 6'4", this guy fits this bill, military commanding presence, and that's okay until we possibly get to a point where maybe a director or producer says, I want to challenge this guy and see if he can do this. Or maybe there's a role that has more emotional arc to it, So, and I think most actors, even if they're typecast, they're brilliant. Like some of the, like one of the talking about The Rock, you were saying earlier, one of his amazing projects. Did you guys see the movie Be Cool that he shot 20
Yeah,
years ago?
love that movie.
Man,
John Travolta.
him playing the security guard. Man, his range was incredible. But and obviously he knows how to play the kind of the game plan, the dads and all those. But there's range to what he does, But because he's larger than life and so strong, people want to see him whoop some ass. So, and that's what people pay box office to see, right? So, but he has the ability to do that. So it just really depends. I don't know if more actors want to or per se. They're just wanting to have the role that helps get their trajectory going up until they can have the choice to do other things.
One thing I find fascinating right now is at one point it was like you're a TV actor or you're a film actor or you move over to film, right? I see a lot of film actors now doing TV shows. You see it on Apple, you
It's
see
all
it on
blurred
Hulu.
now, the line, because of streaming.
Yeah, it's like that rule is completely gone. I don't think there's ever been a rule, but it was kind of like a hidden rule, right? Like, but I find that remarkable how now film actors are actually going to the streaming service, to whatever it is, as TV shows, etc., and they go back and forth. And I think that's such a healthy move for Hollywood overall. But I think, and sometimes you can always see a TV actor be that TV actor. You kind of sense it, right? Compared to like, for example, like I was what movie was I watching? I was watching yesterday, The Rip. I was watching yesterday with I love that movie. I couldn't believe it. At first it was slow, but I was like, phenomenal movie. But you can just see some of them are just TV actors, and then you have Hollywood blockbuster actors that can hit the roles, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at, there's so much content now, right? So many different streaming networks now: Netflix, Peacock, HBO, Amazon Prime, Hulu, all those different mediums, right? And so, but a lot of them have the budgets. Yeah, and a lot of them have the budgets. Exactly right. They have the budgets to make it feel like a feature film, even though you're watching it in the confines of your own home. And so, because of that, the box office A-list actor has really went away because of the more accessibility to content, right? And that's where the decline in going to the movies has been, is because you see these larger than life projects in the confines of your own home, and so that's why a lot of these A-list actors are now doing Netflix, doing television projects, all those different things. And so, well,
I think cost has to do a lot of things have to do with a lot of it as well, right? Like, it's not how it used to be where you could take a family to go see a movie and it's like, let's say $30. Now you're looking in the $100 range, right? And that's not even with food or whatnot, right? So
it for sure is. It's like the gift and the curse, because we always want people to go watch movies in the theater. It's communal, it's relatability, it's connection, it's for people even outside the family. It's a way to connect with your family, because nowadays it's like you watch things from home. A lot of times family doesn't want to sit there all and watch the movie together. Somebody might be on their iPad, somebody might be on the phone. And so that's what the movie theaters did, and so although streaming content is so amazing, it did kind of feel like take away from that aspect, which is where I wish we could find a happy medium where people still would go and watch these movies too, because when you do that, it does allow for the actor to build momentum. And what does that do? When they build momentum, it gives them opportunity to get more opportunities and roles, and then opportunities for more income to come in and more for their quote, as opposed to, hey, we can get 1 million people to do this, as opposed to, hey, let's get Jamal Lloyd Johnson here to do this because we saw him in this big screen. He was amazing. So let's offer him this role, as opposed to just being equipped with every other actor on every streaming network.
Yeah.
So
I love the movie experience overall. Like you disconnect from the world.
yeah.
You're locked in. You know, it's
If it's a good
quiet.
movie, if it's a good,
Well, I think in general, I think like you're not going to see a bad movie in a movie theater. It's not like how it used to be, right? But I think overall that experience of missing things is it's lost, and I don't think people understand that.
Yeah.
I think we're too connected to having 5 different things and try to use the movie as white noise. And if you make the attempt to go watch it, I think the experience of a theater is just phenomenal overall. And I think we need to figure out a way for people to come back to watch movies in the theater. Subscription-based service, I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like, I think overall, when you see someone on a bigger screen,
Yeah.
I think you appreciate it a lot more. Like, I couldn't watch, let's say for example, like The Odyssey that just came out. I couldn't just watch this on an airplane or at home. You're not going to get the same experience as you watch it on an IMAX or just even on a regular theater in general, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something you definitely will Odyssey with the family and I were going to see that today. Absolutely want to see that movie. And I just, every opportunity I can to see films in the theater, I want to do that because you talked about it earlier. It's a disconnection opportunity. How many times do you, if you think about it, go try to watch a film at home, a TV show at home, and try not to touch your phone.
Yeah.
You won't do it.
You got the people in the theater that do that as well. So,
well, I don't know about that. That's terrible if that's the case.
Yeah.
But I would think that if you actually going to the theater and watching a movie because everything is all black, then they would at least have the decency to keep their phone down and watch it. They do all the prehabs. Hey, make sure you turn your phones off. Do all that. Nobody does that when you're watching the things at home. So,
Jamal, I wanted to ask you one other question.
Yeah.
Basically, like with social media, do you find, or actors in general, the pressure to basically now, like, because before, like the old actors, like the De Niro's and stuff, you saw them in a film, but you never knew what they were like in person. Like you didn't know anything. Now there's that pressure, like, no, you got to be out there on social media, tell them what you're eating, what you're doing, and show your personality.
Yeah.
And do you feel that pressure as an actor now as part of the job? Your social media presence?
Yeah. There is, the way I look at it for me as far as social media is marketing opportunities based upon what I'm doing, in the sense of projects or something that's relatable to me moving the career forward, right? I think one of the staple people who do that so brilliantly is The Rock. It's his content is centered around. I would do it the same way because I'm an entrepreneur, and he's been able to use his brand to create other things, like his tequila, and like his shave, his papatui, like papui, facial products, all those different things. I would love to do the same. Kevin Hart does it as well, but when you look at The Rock, he does it brilliantly from a marketing standpoint.
But then
There are
the actor stop being an actor. Like that's the whole thing. Like the old school actors, they were actors. They didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But now you can't just be an actor. You got to be
live in
an
such a
entrepreneur.
different
You got to be a
medium.
business guy. You got to be this guy, that guy.
Yeah, we live in a different medium now where acting by itself does not fund your life. You know, there is no
That's basically the truth now.
yeah, there is no Tom Cruises, Brad Pitts anymore. You know, like those people use acting in it box office, right? Ben Affleck, all those different things. Now we live in an era where acting will allow you to create brands to actually fund your life because there's too much content out there. And so production companies and studios know they don't have to pay the actors the same amount of money to do projects because they can find somebody else that probably can do it for half as much until that actor gets to a point where they command that. And then that smart actor will use it as leverage to go into other brands. Like we live in a completely different medium now.
So when you say an entrepreneur, like what are the kind of things that you're involved in?
So I'm always I work I've done so many different things, in my life, from entertainment management, the music side, to entrepreneurship, owning, high ticket coaching companies and selling, high ticket offers as well, working remotely. I've worked in health and wellness, with NFL athletes, on that side, helping them be the better version of themselves. All these things to make sure that I'm still funding my childhood passion, of being an actor, and life gets in its way, man, but go ahead.
So like with acting, would you say it's your career or it's kind of like your hobby or passion? Because you having to fuel it this way, like build your brands and do all the other things to keep fueling this this hustle.
Yeah, definitely not a hobby. It's a passion. It's always been a passion of mine since I was young. Hobbies you just do. I don't know. Like my hobby would probably be I enjoy exercising and stuff like that, and that's a hobby of mine. But it's also a form of meditation. But acting is a passion. It fuels something inside of me that I can't describe.
If money wasn't an issue, you would do it for free. Like that's the kind of you would do it no matter what.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of that's a lot of actors kind of start off that way. It's like, and I've actually, like the two projects that I talked to you about, the Other Mind and Two Wrongs, both of them won lots of awards. I was nominated for Best Actor for the Pasadena Film Festival for The Other Mind. I funded that myself. Each one of those costs, I don't know, 40, 50,000 a pop, and so I funded that myself, and paid all the actors, SAG, all those different things, but for the opportunity to showcase my range and who I was and the ability to do that because I love that. I didn't get paid a cent. So those are the things that I think is a difference between people. You can't chase fame. You have to chase your authenticity and being able to, like, do you believe it? Do you love it? And I always have, and I'm always learning from it.
One Attempt Remaining, starring Jennifer Garner, John Cena, and one of my favorite people from SNL, Kate McKinnon, is actually on there. Who I find her hilarious. When does it release? Can we talk about the movie? Is it still on Netflix? Like what about it?
Yeah, so it's a Netflix project. It should come out next year. Yeah, it should come out next year. I have a supporting role in that. Jennifer Garner is great.
I used to have a crush on her.
Yeah, well, who didn't, right?
Alias. I was an Alias fan, right? So
good, and she's amazing. Didn't have scenes with John Cena, but saw him on set. He's also great. But Kate McKinnon wasn't there when I was there. We shot that out of the country. It was, great. I can't speak, I guess, on where we shot that, but it's amazing.
Can you speak on your role? On your role?
No, not yet. I don't believe I can just yet. Just what you see kind of online, I think we're in the early stages of that.
Got it.
yeah, no, it was a great experience, for sure.
Has there been something where you're like you kind of forgot that you were on it?
No, but what happens is that you'll shoot a project, it comes out next, maybe the following year, and you start doing promo for that project while filming another project. That right there that takes some different brain work, so to speak, because you have to remember the elements from what happened a year or 2 years ago to what is going on in your life right now.
That's a true talent of switching.
That is a true talent. I will say that, because we shot Ruthless season 6, which I'm in. I'm a recurring character on, that's on Paramount Plus now. We shot that season 2 years ago. And so just remembering those things, and I've done quite a few things since then, from the Punisher and a few more projects. I'm like, oh yes, that's right. So yeah, that takes a talent in itself, man.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. You know what? That's everything. SANJ, you got anything else? I'm good, man.
No, I'm just glad it was a great conversation, because I'm more about like getting into the deep of like being like, so I was a musician, right? Like music producer background, and we had this podcast episode about being delusional.
Okay.
And we feel if you're going to go into the arts as like a career, or as to like basically pay your bills, you kind of have to be somewhat delusional, because like the odds are so stacked against you. Like you have to have such resilience and belief, where you come across as a little bit cuckoo, because you're like, dude, come on, like nobody makes it. It's like opening a restaurant. They tell you, oh, restaurant's the worst business to open, right? Because they all fail. Mm-hmm. And so I like to always ask someone that's in the arts that challenge, that mental game of like, when do they tap out, or do they just keep going, do or die? Like what's that like?
So, like a musician, like an artist of any form, because right, when you look at musician, actor, dancer, singer, that's an artist. You have to be two things: fearless and resilient, right? Because if you're not, then this is not the industry for you whatsoever. There's so many people, so many rejections that you get. I look at rejections as opportunities to work on your craft and be better. But so much rejection in all of the artist industries. You have to have convenient amnesia, right? You have to have thick skin, man. If you don't, then you will not make it whatsoever. You have to have the ultimate belief in yourself and your abilities, right? And believe that, understand that this is a long game, and be persistent in practicing on your craft. Because
you never know which song, which role, which opportunity is the one that's it, right? Yeah. Like I always say, like someone tell me like, what should I do? I said, look, if I told you song number 87 was the one that you put out and that's going to blow you up, you would be working so fast to get to song 87. Right.
Absolutely.
But the fact that you don't know it, you got to keep going, right?
You got to keep going. You have to keep going. I mean, that's the truth. And that kind of goes back to what I said. It's like when you audition for roles, I didn't know I was auditioning to play that role. And it seems small, but you bring the same energy, the same passion, the same desire to it. And boom, you get your thriller. Right. So. Yeah.
And then Jamal, you get the next one, then you get the next.
Yeah.
Again, Jamal, thank you for being on the pod. Where can everyone follow you, ask you, and bombard you with billions of questions? Plug it away, my friend.
I'm not a huge social media guy, but you can have Instagram, obviously, Jamal L. Johnson _. I'm not a TikToker or snappy chatter or any of those things.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I keep it simple, man. But yeah, Instagram is where you can find me, or if people want to Google me, Jamal Lloyd Johnson, you can Google Jamal Lloyd Johnson. You'll see some stuff and learn more about me and my journey.
Awesome, man. We wish you all the best in your journey, and it was great talking to you, Jamal. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, man. Thank
Always,
you.
always.